Now, looking for further places we can get information, I see that in this particular row here, I have everything but this spot. So this has to be an O, and then I can put an X here. And what that tells me is that tie-dye, period 4, and music. So I can put an O here, and X is here. And I already know that tie-dye is a mirror, so that can go an O here, and X is in the rest of that row. So I know everything I need to know about a mirror is filled in. Okay, great. And then I'll look around a little more, and let's see what else we can look at here. Here's another place I can see. I have one spot here for O for Carl and yellow. And I already know it's in period 1. And I know it's orange, so I can put an O here. And then X is in the rest of this column and row. And that leaves only one spot here for gray. So Betty is gray, and Betty is drawing. So I'll put that an O for drawing for Betty. And X is in the rest of that column and row. Then that leaves me only one spot here for ancient history. And I know that that leaves one spot there. And then I have an O for French. And so that had to have been Eddie, because he was French, getting the French book. And that leaves just an O here for Carl. And we already know that he had an orange backpack and he was in period 1, so we can fill that in here for period 1. And then we go to Eddie, and Eddie can't be 1, 2, or 4. Can't be 1, 2, or 4. We go over here to Eddie has brown, and Eddie has French. Well, we know French has to be period 3, so we know Eddie's period 3. So that fills this up. And now we have period 5 is Betty. So we can put that over here. Period 5 is Betty. And then that leaves one spot here for history is period 1. And then if Betty is period 5, and Betty is gray, so gray is period 5. So I'll put an O here. And X is in the rest there. And now this whole box is filled up. This whole box is filled. And then we go down here to history. And we know that ancient history has orange. And orange belongs to yellow, so ancient history is yellow. So I'm going to put an O here and X for the rest of that. And then only leaves one spot here and only leaves one spot there. And so period 3, I knew period 3 was Eddie. And Eddie is the black book, so this is period 3. So I'm going to put an X here and in this row, and that leaves only one spot there. And now we have everything filled out except Betty. We said, oh, this one here, we lost an X here. So Betty has the blue book. So everything's good. And unfortunately, what that tells us is that Carl was the person in the 900 stacks. Carl was wearing an orange backpack, checked out a yellow book in the ancient history in period 1. So Carl, unfortunately, must be our culprit.